that is like the big thing to get out of the way. You know,
Yeah.
we have a new Doctor.
Like that, I feel like that has gotten a bit lost in the shuffle amidst, because it was naturally going to, amidst all of the filming and the Tennant announcement and the new Rose, which we'll get onto, and all these other things. But I'm really happy with Ncuti's casting. I think he's a really solid choice.
Yeah.
I recently binged all of Sex Education up until the end of season 3. They're now filming for season 4. They're about to, at least, I think.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Sex Ed.
Good, yeah.
But I think he's brilliant in it.
Yeah, because even I've watched Sex Education as it was coming out, and yeah, he was never on my radar. I never necessarily saw people talking about him either. But yeah, I think going back and rewatching certain clips and stuff from him, yeah, he definitely has it in him to do a really good job.
I think particularly in series 1, where there's some more serious moments with him. You know, like there's that scene where he's in the car with his dad, I think, and he's like crying about like, oh, you know, what kind of man do you want to be? And he's just distraught at like, you know, the idea of how he's been treated, and it's like this guy's got some proper serious like acting chops to him. Like,
oh yeah.
He's a good actor, and like he balances the comedy very well. And his character inside, obviously, I know he's not going to play it like Eric from Sex Ed, obviously, but his character from Sex Ed was giving me real vibes of 11, if anything, in the series 5 with the Ponds. Because there's a scene, I think it's near like the first few episodes, that it happens a few times across the show, it kind of becomes like a running bit, where I believe Otis is the main character, and Maeve, who's like the love interest to Otis, will like want to talk about something, and Eric's character, or Ncuti, will just be sort of stood there being like, oh, so you want me to go? Right, okay. And he'll just awkwardly shuffle away. And that was giving me very 11th Doctor with the Ponds, when, you know, they were kissing or whatever, and he was like, oh, I'll just pop to the swimming pool. You know, it was giving me those vibes a lot, so that's a good sign for me. As
I could sort of see him playing like a sort of mix between like, someone like 11, someone a bit Eccleston-y as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel
11 and the other number.
No. I feel like Eccleston's Doctor. I feel like Ncuti is going to bring a lot of that sass that Eccleston had.
Yeah, and I think he's going to have some darkness to him as well. I can definitely see there's some untapped darkness there.
The thing is, I don't want another necessarily dark Doctor again.
No,
I don't want another light and fluffy Doctor coming directly after Jodie. But I don't want another like dark brooding.
I think a mix for me is what's ideal.
This is dramatic.
Like a mix for me is what's ideal.
I feel like a kind of like what 10 was to begin with. I guess also Matt Smith to begin with.
Yeah, Matt Smith series 5 is kind of my sort of hope, I guess, where he's a bit sort of. And obviously he'll bring his own flavour to it. I get the feeling he's going to be cooler than both 10 and 11, to be honest. Maybe that's blasphemous to say, but like looking at the guy's style and just looking at like how organically he moves and like dances and things, like I
can't wait to see his costume. I can't wait to see what they stick him in, because
like, I can see
has
being in the TARDIS with Ncuti's Doctor to be an absolute like riot. Like I can see it being a really fun time in there. You know, because you said to me, "Oh, disco TARDIS," and I was like, "Yeah, that'd be cool." And he could like, you know, be dancing around while he's flying the TARDIS. Like I could see him being a really fun presence as the Doctor.
Yeah, because in interviews he's so enthusiastic and he's bringing so much energy before he's even in the part, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just really hyped to see what he brings.
I really like his voice as well, and it's like it's a very unique voice with a bit of like the Scottish in it, but it's also like it's got its own flavour. I don't know, like that sounds really weird to say, but like you have got
it's like a mix of cultures. Yeah, it's not really traceable.
Yeah, and I like that. Because I feel like the Doctor shouldn't necessarily feel traceable to one culture inherently, or that's a good idea for the Doctor, because they are, you know, a galactic wanderer who goes from civilization to civilization. It kind of checks out that their accent would kind of be a bit all over the place. Like obviously they spend a lot of time on Earth, I guess, in the UK, so that would be where most of the influence comes from. You know, you got a bit of Scottish in there, you got a bit of, obviously, because I think was Ncuti born in Rwanda, I believe? So
I think he was, yeah.
He's
And
got
then
a bit
his
of that
parents
twang to him as
migrated
well.
over.
So, like, I
Yeah.
quite like that he's got a very, very nuanced and interesting accent, and I think that'll be a really
Yeah.
nice thing to listen to.
I can't
he's
wait to
delivering
like
dialogue.
hear him saying like dramatic speeches.
Yeah,
and
I think he's
confronting
going to sound
Daleks
really
and
good doing big dramatic speeches.
Mm-hmm.
And
And yeah,
he's got
especially under like Russell's writing as well. Like he's great at all that whimsical and
yeah.
just some of the words and stuff he makes up and incorporates into his speeches. I can totally see Ncuti
Yeah.
giving this big grandiose performance.
Like, I can see him doing the Voyage of the Damned thing of, like, I'm the Doctor, or I'm insert age, I'm going to do this, and this, and you're going to like it,
Yeah.
and be that whole cheeky thing of, like, I don't know, I can definitely see him sort of cheekily asking a companion to be like, you want to come with me? And it's like, the sort of grin, and, like, the sort of
Yeah.
knowing look of, like, yeah, you're about to see the universe, you know. I don't know, he has a lot of promise, and I think he's going to be great. I genuinely think he's going to be fantastic.
Same. Yeah.
Something I do want to bring up, if I can, like, obviously I don't want this podcast to be all about this, and I want it to be quite an upbeat podcast, obviously, but I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't mention some of the things that Ncuti has gotten. Obviously it's a vocal minority, but, like, some of the stuff that I've seen against Ncuti's casting was like, whoa, what the hell? Like,
Yeah, I saw a lot.
why are people like this? You know, obviously you did a tweet about, like, a YouTuber who I won't name, saying that, like, Doctor Who's an intrinsically white character, and it's like,
Yeah.
how? He's an alien, or, you know, they are an alien, because they could be both. They're an alien who travels through, you know, time and space, fixing injustice, fighting for the little guy, and, you know, toppling evil empires. What about that is intrinsically, like, white? You know, it doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
I think a lot of the stuff that he's gotten is entirely unjustified. Yeah, I'm not going to dwell on that too much. One thing I am interested in that regard, I do wonder how it's going to play into historicals. That is something I'm interested
I think
in.
it's going to add an interesting layer.
I think, what I can imagine, obviously I don't want it to be like the focus of every historical story of, like, oh, the Doctor's being treated like shit because he's gone to the past. But I could definitely see things that would be easier for him to do before will now be harder. So, say for example, the Doctor's trying to convince someone in authority, like, do this, do this, do this. They might go, you know, I don't know whether I should listen to someone like you. You know what I mean. That sort of dialogue I can imagine being present, and I think that'll be a really interesting dynamic because, aside from the witch hunt, not the witch hunters, the witch finders, they didn't really explore the issues like Jodie's gender presented or could have presented in as much depth as I would have liked them to.
And I think they did a pretty poor job in the Witchfinders, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like it was pretty glossed over even in that, when it was. Because, like, the idea of a female Doctor in the Witchfinders is like in the Witch Trials. I keep getting stuck on my words. It's like such a cool idea fundamentally.
Yeah. It was always going to happen.
Yeah.
I just hate that they then like made the whole thing about it's these mud monsters. And it's kind of
I don't like the Witchfinders.
Yeah.
No, but I hope that is one thing that gets more of the focus. Is like if we are getting, you know, like explore that as a part of the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I actually think that him being someone of colour as well is pretty great for the fact that this guy is going to be on the posters, billboards, all across the merchandise. Essentially front and centre of the franchise, and particularly for a show like Doctor Who. That's a really big deal.
It's the first time we're getting, you know, a PLC Doctor as the main one. Obviously, a lot of people are quick to point out Jo Martin is the first Black Doctor, which she is.
And she did a great job with the role, but ultimately, Ncuti's going to be front and centre of the brand.
Yeah, and ultimately, this is the one Doctor, the one new Doctor that, like, the audience are going to get to know, because even if, you know, whatever casual audiences were watching Series 12 and 13, you didn't see much of Ruth then anyway. So, when people say, oh, we're going to get our first, like, Black Doctor, I don't think it comes out of a desire to, like, erase Jo Martin or anything like that.
No.
I think it's just like, yeah, he is the first main one, you know?
Yeah.
And that's really cool.